Manchester United taking on Wolverhampton Wanderers away from home this coming Monday, and this is a real test for Manchester United. We got through that home tie fantastically well against Chelsea and got the 4-0 victory, but now it's a stern test away from home to a team that we lost to twice on the road last season, once in the league and once in the FA Cup. Now, this is going to be massive for Manchester United to show where Manchester United have, if we've moved forward in this new season, because these games are really tricky to win away from home at, and a lot of teams will probably slip up here this season, and hopefully Manchester United will not be one of them. Now, obviously, we should be in confident mood after that 4-0 win last weekend, but obviously we've got to keep the momentum going and try to get the 3 points again in this particular match. Now, they've got some really good players that can hurt Manchester United, but the good thing is they've played in midweek in the Europa League. I think they did rotate a bit in that game, but still they probably haven't got the massive multi-million pound squad of players on the substitutes bench that can come in and freshen things up for them. And Manchester United, although people don't see us as the big hitters we once were, we do have a decent sized squad. Of whether the players that coming in are of the same level of quality, I'm not too sure, but we do have a massive squad. And we saw last weekend that there was a lot of players that weren't even along the substitutes bench that could come in. But I don't really expect Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to change too much up for this game. You're looking at the back five. De Gea will obviously be in goal. Then you're going to have Lindelof and Maguire as the centre halves, Luke Shaw left back, and Wan-Bissaka right back. That isn't going to change anything at all. I would expect Pogba and McTominay to be in the centre of midfield. I can't see anything different there. Matic has been horrendous in pre-season. McTominay looked decent, I thought, against Chelsea. Paul Pogba doing some decent stuff as well with a couple of assists. One fantastic one for Rashford. So, although I didn't think he had a great game, to be honest, Paul Pogba producing a moment like that, he can have an average game for me. And if he produces a moment of magic like that, then Manchester United can win a game, then that is what a top world-class player can do on his day. We will probably need him to produce more than that overall in a game, in some of these games, but if he can produce a moment like that, then it is fantastic. So them two will be in midfield. The forward line will be the only real interesting factor in this, with obviously Pereira as well in midfield. I forgot to mention. Will he stick with Andreas Pereira for this game or not? We will have to wait and see. Personally, I would probably, you could change it up a bit. You could bring Juan Mata or someone in there, and also change it up with Jesse Lingard, but I think he's probably going to go for a similar team to last week. He may choose to take Jesse Lingard out and bring Daniel James in. He's got blistering pace and could cause these problems, but we'll have to wait and see. But I would expect Marshall to keep his place up front and Rashford probably out wide, but they did interchange because when Rashford scored that third goal, he was in the central position, and before that obviously Martial in the box to tap home the second. So overall was really pleased with that for Manchester United, that both players are interchanging and getting in that central position at times, sometimes playing as a two, sometimes one's playing out wide. So it's good that we have the options to interchange, but I wouldn't see too many other options that Manchester United would change it. I can't see anyone else coming in. We've got so many options though in the Manchester United team. We didn't even see a lot of players that were on the bench. Fred didn't even make the bench for that game against Chelsea, so could he come back onto the bench? And also Alexis Sanchez didn't even make the bench either. That is without the players that were in the stands. We've seen the likes of Jones, Smalling, Rojo, Darmian not getting a look in, and also we've got the likes of Chong and Gomez that didn't even make the substitutes bench either for that game against Chelsea. So there is a massive amount of options for Manchester United. We did see Mata and Greenwood come on in that second half. Could we see them feature at some point in this game? I think Greenwood could well feature from the substitutes bench for the time being until we get to either the League Cup or the Europa League group stage. Then I think he probably will switch it up and give Greenwood a start in one of them two competitions. But for now, I think he probably will keep him on the substitutes bench. But they've got a lot of great players in their team, the likes of Neves, who I thought could potentially come to Manchester United this summer, a player that I did like for Manchester United. So they're not going to be no pushovers at all, Wolves. They're difficult to beat away from home. I think even Man City drew with them. I think it might have been away from home at the beginning of last season. So Manchester United are going to really have to be on their A game for this. But if Manchester United could win this game, it would be a massive statement for Manchester United, getting 6 points out of 6, because potentially I was worried that Manchester United could end up being well adrift of the pack at the top of the league if we had a bad start and only got maybe 1 point out the first 2 games or something. But we've got 3. We've got to be targeting 6 points, because after that I think the fixtures are a little bit easier. But obviously there's no easy games in the Premier League, but on paper they're easier games, and it would give Manchester United the confidence to keep going. But really them forward players are going to be key, I think, in this game. Martial and Rashford have got to continue that form from that game against Chelsea, continue that scoring, because Manchester United have not had a bloke since Zlatan Ibrahimovic that is, I mean, obviously Lukaku did get a decent number of goals, but that real clinical man, we haven't actually even when Zlatan was here, he missed a lot of chances for Manchester United, so we probably haven't had a clinical man in front of goal for a long time. Did score a lot of goals for Manchester United, both Lukaku and obviously Zlatan, but both missed a lot of chances in some seasons. And Manchester United need that. We need to get someone that's back scoring 20 odd goals a season again on a regular basis. Them players only did it on one-off seasons. Can Manchester United get these players that are still young, but they've both got to have their best ever seasons for Manchester United this year if we're to have any decent season. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this game at the weekend. I mean, probably Wolves are probably going to have a lot of the more of the possession in the game. Manchester United being the away side, can Manchester United's pace on that counter-attack be devastating to cause Wolves all sorts of problems? That's why I think he may choose to switch it up with Jesse Lingard and bring Daniel James in and have a forward 3 of Martial, Rashford and James. I mean, that pace on the counter-attack could cause them problems. I'm going to go for Manchester United just sneaking this game 2-1. I'm hoping we can just get the job done in this game and move on. Any sort of win away at Wolves is greatly taken for Manchester United, certainly. Make sure to like the video anyway. Let me know your thoughts on the game. How do you see it going? Do you think Manchester United can get the win this season that we badly need to get us off to a positive start in the season? Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll talk to you all again soon. See ya.